That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, y'all showed so much support on the safe running back investment video. Y'all completely destroyed that like button and also left a ton of comments. And yeah, we are going to be coming out here with the wide receiver video today. Please go down there, destroy that like button. And also, I want to remind everyone, this is a Dynasty Fantasy Football channel. If you just stumbled across this and you don't play Dynasty Fantasy Football, or you're not intrigued in getting in a Dynasty Fantasy Football League, please turn off this video. Do not subscribe to the channel. This channel is not for you. This is for strictly Dynasty Fantasy Football players. So yeah, let's dive into it and let's talk about 5 safe wide receiver investments. These are guys that we don't think can lose any value going into the 2021 football season compared to where they are right now. Okay, so let's start it off with a player that I was so high on 2 years ago. Honestly, I probably should have sold him at his peak this last offseason. Regardless, DJ Moore. Okay, with DJ Moore, guys, I know he's been frustrating so far in 2020 with Robbie Anderson actually operating as that prototypical alpha wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers offense, and especially earlier on in the year with DJ Moore, he was looking like the deep threat for the Carolina Panthers, where he was not necessarily a plug-and-play guy for you. You were really having to look at the matchup, and he was volatile week to week. But with DJ Moore going into 2021, he's actually extremely young. I mean, I know most people don't realize that DJ Moore is still only about 23 years old. And on top of that, he was selected in the 2018 NFL Draft in the first round. So he's still playing under that rookie contract. He is still tied to Teddy Bridgewater in this Carolina Panthers offense. And while Teddy Bridgewater is not necessarily a quarterback that you want to be tied to, what we have with DJ Moore is a situation where he's tied to both Joe Brady and Matt Rule. And I know not a lot of people have really been discussing the success that we've seen from Matt Rule and Joe Brady as the coaching staff for the Carolina Panthers so far in 2020. But I have been extremely impressed. Literally anything that you would want to see out of this offense, they have shown you. They have drawn up some extremely impressive plays, literally for DJ Moore, for Curtis Samuel, for how they've used Robbie Anderson. So with DJ Moore, I like the fact that he is going to be with that coaching staff. And on top of it, we actually look at Curtis Samuel as a wide receiver that is coming to the very end of his rookie contract, and knowing that they've gotten so much production from both Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. And with Curtis Samuel, I promise you, he's going to command a very, very nice contract in free agency this offseason. I think there's a chance that we have Curtis Samuel out of Carolina, which would open up more targets for both DJ Moore and for Robbie Anderson. So I think with DJ Moore's age, with the fact that he's attached to this coaching staff, and with the fact that he is going to be stepping up into a larger role without Curtis Samuel, I think all of these factors make him an extremely intriguing fantasy football investment. And on top of that, we know that DJ Moore has just proven to be one of the best wide receivers in the entire NFL. If you look at what he's done in terms of his age-adjusted production, I mean, there are a million reasons to be high on DJ Moore. I'm viewing him as a very safe investment where maybe his value is not necessarily going to skyrocket as the offseason progresses, but I see there's no chance that it goes down. Okay, so now let's get to our next wide receiver, someone that I promise you, his value is going to continue to rise as the offseason progresses, Justin Jefferson. So yes, guys, I know that Justin Jefferson has received a good amount of hype in the Dynasty Fantasy Football community so far this season, but in my opinion, he has not received enough. I mean, Justin Jefferson has been the most efficient rookie wide receiver of all time. And I know that sounds crazy to say, but you look at his fantasy points per route run, if you look at his yards per target, they are literally off the charts. And in my opinion, what's even more impressive about Justin Jefferson is he's been doing this with volume as well. And by what I mean with volume is actually the air yards in the Minnesota Vikings offense. And we know that air yards, while they are volatile week to week, they are extremely sticky year to year. So with Justin Jefferson in this role that he has in Minnesota, I expect nothing to change going into 2021. He is going to be getting that volume. And on top of that, Justin Jefferson was one of the youngest wide receivers in the entire 2020 NFL draft, one of the youngest players in the entire NFL draft. I think maybe the only wide receiver that was younger than him was KJ Hamler. But with Justin Jefferson, he's also playing in an offense that could be possibly moving on from Adam Thielen this offseason. And on top of that, we just know that Adam Thielen is so old. He's gearing up for his age 30, 31 season coming up. So Justin Jefferson is going to be emerging as Adam Thielen is fading into the background. And we know that with Justin Jefferson, that efficiency we've seen in his rookie season, I think it's safe to say that he is going to continue to progress his game to be one of the most talented wide receivers in the entire NFL. They have Kirk Cousins tied up in Minnesota. And honestly, I know a lot of people are going to think that sounds gross. And while Kirk Cousins is not a quarterback that you want to be the quarterback of your team if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, he is more than fine if we are trying to support some wide receiver ones in fantasy. We've seen this with Stephon Diggs. We've seen this with Adam Thielen. Now we are seeing it with Justin Jefferson. I think that Jefferson is an extremely safe asset. Okay. So now our next wide receiver, someone that I feel like I really don't even need to spend much time on, we are going to be talking about A.J. Brown. Okay, with A.J. Brown, I'll say that I think I was a little bit too low on him coming into 2020 because if you look at what he did in his rookie season, he was really not getting any volume in that Tennessee Titans offense. He was doing it all off of efficiency in yards after the catch, and I thought that was not going to be sustainable going into 2020, but A.J. Brown has completely shut me up. It does not matter how many targets he's seeing in this offense. It does not matter what the matchup is. A.J. Brown is consistently going out there and producing. We know that he had a fantastic profile coming into the NFL where he looked like a prototypical Alpha X wide receiver. And to add on the fact that we can clearly say at this point that we would have seen so much more production for A.J. Brown in that Ole Miss offense if he was not playing alongside DK Metcalf. I think that A.J. Brown would have seen his draft capital probably be up in the top 15 picks of the entire NFL draft. So I think you can throw the fact that he was selected in the second round out the window. And I think with A.J. Brown, he has clearly proven so far in his NFL career that he is one of the most talented wide receivers in the entire NFL. I think that he is safely a first-round startup pick in one quarterback leagues this offseason. I think there are very few wide receivers I would rather have over A.J. Brown. Okay, so now our next wide receiver, someone that's not going to cost you nearly as much, and honestly someone that I think I'm going to be aggressively pursuing over the next few weeks in the leagues that my trade deadline has not already passed, is going to be DJ Chark. Okay, with DJ Chark, guys, I understand he's been very frustrating so far in 2020 based off of his injuries and also based off of him getting a ton of volume and not necessarily producing every single week with it. But what we can confidently say with DJ Chark is he is the alpha wide receiver of this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. We've seen it in back-to-back seasons now, even with Laviska Shenault being a wide receiver that we were very excited about coming into 2020. DJ Chark has made sure that Laviska Shenault stays in that backseat as DJ Chark drives this offense. And what I love about Chark is, yes, he is still on his rookie contract, so he is tied to that situation in Jacksonville. But the reason that we were really excited about DJ Chark coming into the NFL a few years ago was because of his athletic profile. We were not excited about DJ Chark in terms of his overall fundamentals at the wide receiver position. Clearly, he was more of a raw player, but based on what he's been able to accomplish, I think we can safely say that he is going to continue to progress his game as his career goes on. And on top of that, I think that the quarterback play can only get better for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who look like they could be coming away with the second overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Maybe we see the New York Jets mess up and win a game. I know they're keeping Adam Gase to make sure that does not happen, but there is an outside chance that the Jacksonville Jaguars also have Trevor Lawrence. So here with DJ Chark, I think that he is an extremely safe dynasty asset. Okay. So now our next wide receiver is going to be someone that I was entirely wrong on yet again, Terry McLaurin. So y'all know with Terry McLaurin, I actually aggressively targeted him in our 2019 Dynasty rookie drafts, but I cashed out after that rookie season. I was looking at the overall situation in Washington saying, you know what? This is a gross offense. I would much rather have a wide receiver like Juju Smith-Schuster playing in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense over Terry McLaurin. I don't care that McLaurin's going to get every single target. He also came into the NFL at an extremely old age where I questioned if he was going to be able to take another step after his rookie season. And I'll just say, I was completely wrong. I mean, Terry McLaurin, in terms of what kind of opportunity he's able to demand in that Washington offense, is clearly one of the best wide receivers in the entire NFL. Like, we had a YouTube comment a couple days ago, someone saying that if Terry McLaurin played in Seattle with Russell Wilson, he would be more valuable than DK Metcalf. And honestly, I can't argue with that. I mean, I don't know if you're right, but I think that is a conversation, and that is a point that you can hold up and you can make a debate with. So here, Terry McLaurin, an elite wide receiver, and clearly he's had some of the worst quarterback play so far in 2020, where I think in 2021, it literally cannot get worse. Okay. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop that like, leave that comment, subscribe to the channel. It really, really helps us out. And I hope I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.